Okay, so in this video, I want to go through a couple of different case studies to kind of tie all this together. And this is going to get into some of the details of the numbers. So if you're not a numbers person, this may be a little bit overwhelming, but I'm going to break it down one at a time so you understand exactly how this works. If you're the engineering type and you like numbers, then you're really going to love this. But remember, before we get into the weeds here with the numbers, keep in mind that the whole purpose of this is to be able to borrow money at a lower rate than what you can actually earn on your money. So remember, we want your money to grow uninterrupted. It's that uninterrupted compound interest that is what makes all of this work. So if we're going to be able to save money with this life insurance and earn a 6 to 8% return, then if we borrow the money at 5%, we're going to create this positive spread on what we're earning versus what it costs us to borrow the money, right? In this example, I'm going to show you 6%. So the interest is going to be about 6% that we are estimating that you're going to earn. It could be more, it could be maybe a little bit less, but remember, if you've seen some of my other videos, the average return is probably more like 7% range. So let's say 6 to 8 is probably going to be your average, and you're guaranteed to be able to borrow the money at 5. So this loan interest, guaranteed at 5% in the contract, with, depending on the insurance company that you're using, but with this example, with this insurance company, it's guaranteed 5%. Okay, so if we know that we can borrow the money at 5%, and if our average can be around 6%, that's going to be that 1% spread between those two numbers. Okay, so in this example, we have a 45-year-old and we're looking at a younger student. So we have quite a bit of time until this student goes to school. Now, of course, if you have multiple kids, it's going to be a lot more complicated, but I'm just trying to keep it simple. With one student going to 4 years of school, that with inflation, we're estimating is going to be about $65,000 a year. Now, maybe this is an out-of-state school or even a private school after maybe some financial aid discount, but that's pretty realistic to be at $65,000 a year. And of course, we went through this with the client, and this is what we determined that this client would need, is about $65,000 a year. So that is a total. You can kind of see my things are in the way there, but anyway, we're looking at about $260,000 is the total for the cost of college. Now, if we save $17,000 a year, which, by the way, that is not a requirement. That is not what the insurance company requires you to pay. If you have a job loss or an unexpected financial setback and you can't make a $17,000 a year payment, that's okay. There are some flexibilities in these numbers, but that is the estimated contribution that we're shooting for. We're shooting for $17,000 a year. That's our budget, if you will, to be able to borrow this $260,000 to pay for college. Okay, so if you want a guaranteed way to save money, this client is only putting in $238,000 and they're borrowing $260,000 because that's how much college is going to cost. So that, of course, is the power of compound interest and getting help from earning some compound interest on that $17,000 a year. Okay, so here are the total expenses. Everyone freaks out about the expenses, but the expenses are actually one of the best parts about the life insurance because over time, they're actually going to be very small, about 1% over 20 years, maybe 0.5% over 30 years, just to give you an idea. As you can see, this client is pushing $500,000 down here at age 65, and they're only paying $700 that year in expenses. So $700 in expenses on $500,000 is a pretty good deal, but that's because we pay such high expenses up front. That's because if you died in the first year, the insurance company's got to come up with $413,000 on top of your cash value to give you at death as a death benefit. Okay, so the insurance companies are going to front load the fees. They're going to take out a lot of the expenses up front, but then they're going to level off. Now, you'll also notice that these expenses drop off significantly. Down in this range right here is when those expenses really start to drop off. And that's because when we stop making payments into this plan, the IRS allows us to reduce the insurance that we're paying for. Now remember, one of the unique things about the expenses on insurance is that the expenses are directly tied to the insurance. or at least most of it, most of the expenses are tied to the insurance costs. Okay, so if we can reduce the insurance costs, then we're going to be reducing the expenses. That's what most people don't do. Most people don't reduce the insurance costs, so the expenses continue to go way up as they get older. That's not what we're doing. We're reducing the insurance, which reduces the expenses. So over time, the expenses are actually relatively low. In a lot of cases, a lot lower than other investments. Okay. Now, this is going to be the interest that we're earning on the money. So let's just go ahead and clear some of this out. Okay, so the interest is the interest that we're going to earn on the account value. So the way we get to the account value is take the $17,000 minus your expenses plus your interest and any bonuses, and that is going to equal your account value. Okay, so your account value is like your home or an investment property, a real estate property. It's the value of the account. It's the asset that is always growing in value. Now, yes, there could be a year where you get a 0% return, and then of course that number would not grow, all right? And if you're not making many more payments, that number could even go down because the expenses are still going to come out. Even if you're not making any payments down here, your expenses are still coming out whether or not you're earning interest or not. But remember, the interest is going to be anywhere from 20% to 0. So we're using an average of 6. All right. So we're earning all this interest. Now I want to point out a couple things real quick. Look at this. After the 3rd year, it's possible that you could be generating more interest on your money than you're even charged for the expenses. So keep that in mind. That's the other thing to point out, is that this $17,000 is flexible, because if you can't make that $17,000 payment, they'll take those expenses out of your account, or, the interest. Of course, the interest is added to the account, and then the expenses can come out of the account. So there's a lot of flexibility. If you can't make a payment, if there's a year that you don't put in $17,000, they still need to cover those expenses, but that expense can come out of your account. So that's, there's some flexibility there. All right, so this is the account value. The account value is going up in value. That is the account that we're using as collateral. Okay, so we're going to use this as collateral to borrow this money to pay for college. So we're taking out these tax-free policy loans. We're borrowing money from the insurance company. Notice that your account value is not going down during those years, just like if you took out a home equity loan or 4 home equity loans. Okay, if you took out 4 home equity loans, it would not decrease the market value of your house, right? The value of your house would still be going up or down if it's a bad market, but generally speaking, the value of your house is still going to go up even if you're taking out these loans. Same with the life insurance. This is what we call uninterrupted compounding interest. Your money is still growing. That is the power of how this whole thing works, okay? So when we borrow this money, remember the insurance company says that we can borrow it at 5%. So if you take 65 plus 5%, there's your $32.50 in interest that you're being charged on that loan. Now remember, the insurance company also says that we don't have to pay back those loans until we die, and they'll just take it out of our account balance, right? So you'll see that that loan interest increases just like our interest increases, right? Okay, so we are earning interest on our money. This is the compounding interest that we're earning. This is the loan interest that we're paying, or that we're not really paying, but we're accruing this loan interest that we're going to eventually have to pay when we die. And then this is our loan balance, right? This is the amount of money that we owe the insurance company. So if you take your account value, delete some of this. If you take this account value, right? Take the account value, subtract it from what you owe the insurance company, right? For the loans, that equals what money you have left over. Okay, so that brings us to this available cash value. The available cash value is the amount of money that you can borrow. Think of it like the equity in your home. But sometimes, you might have $100,000 of equity in your home, but the insurance company or the bank will only let you borrow 70,000, maybe 70% loan to value. Same kind of concept. You'll notice that in the beginning, the insurance company does not give you access to all of your money. They don't give you access to all of your money until later. It's actually in the 12th year, but you're not going to see that because we're borrowing money in year 10, right? Or in year 11. But you'll notice that the numbers are getting really close. Okay, the insurance company is giving us more and more access to our money as time goes on. Okay, but let's say that you're saving for your kids' college and you have an emergency, like so many people do. Well, guess what? This available cash value can be used for anything. Okay, so we could borrow, let's say that we have some money in there after even just a few years, we could borrow, let's say $30,000 in case we lose a job or something like that. And then if we pay back the loan, then our accumulated value didn't even stop, right? Our accumulation value continues to grow, okay, or our account value. So our account value keeps growing no matter what, whether we have loans or not. So if we pay back the loans, we're still going to be on track for college. It's a great emergency fund, okay? Something to keep in mind. All right, now, the life insurance is the amount at risk to the insurance company. Because if you died in the first year, you're going to get your account value plus your insurance amount equals your death benefit. Okay. Now down here, when we've taken out these loans, if you died, let's say you died at age 60. Okay. At age 60, if heaven forbid something happened, you would take your account value minus, okay, the amount that you owe the insurance company, and that is going to equal, okay, so that number minus that number plus this number here, your available cash value, or sorry, your insurance, okay? So your account value minus the amount you owe the insurance company plus the insurance equals your death benefit. In other words, the death benefit is the insurance plus your cash value, okay, minus what you owe the insurance company. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now let's talk about, I know I talked about how you can pay for college and get all of your money back during retirement. Well, let's take a look. Remember, if we scroll down a little bit, remember this client put in $238,000. That was the total investment. And this is our available cash value. Available cash value. Okay. So at age right around in here, which is age 72, at age 72, this client gets the entire cost of they get their entire their contribution, their investment back. They get their investment back that they could just take and walk away. Or why would you ever kill all of this interest that you're earning? Why don't you just borrow this money to supplement your retirement? Okay, this is available. Remember, this column here is available anytime you want it. And look at all this compound interest that we're still earning. And remember, we have $1 million estimated by age 75, and we're only paying $1,000 of expenses. $1,000 on $1 million? If you had $1 million in a 401k paying 1% in fees, that would be $10,000. You're only paying $1,000 in expenses because remember, your fees have stayed pretty low because of the way that we've reduced the insurance. We've kept that insurance really low, which has reduced the expenses. Okay, so when it's all said and done, let's walk through. Let's go down here to age 95. Okay, so at age 95, this client contributed $238,000 total. That was their out of pocket, right? They were charged $183,000 in expenses. They earned $3.5 million of interest. Their account value is $3.6 million, right? Do a little better job there. $3.6 million, okay? They borrowed $260,000 to pay for college. Now, that racked up a 5% loan interest, right? So they've racked up $1.5 million in loan interest, which means they owe the insurance company $1.7 million. Now, where does the insurance company get the $1.7 million? At death, they get it out of the $3.6 million. This money comes out of that money, right? Which leaves you $1.8 million left, which is the power of this uninterrupted compound interest, which of course you could use this during retirement. It's not like you have to just let that continue to grow. You could use that during retirement to supplement your retirement income. And the insurance company only has to come up with $36,000 of insurance, okay? And then, of course, we have a total of $1.8 million, because remember, if we take $3.6 million minus the $1.7 million that we owe the insurance company, plus the $36,000 of insurance, that equals our death benefit of $1.8 million. Pretty cool, huh? Now, we've turned a $238,000 investment into a $3.6 million, account where we borrowed $260,000 and we have $1.8 million left. Pretty powerful, but the insurance company has also done pretty well. The insurance company collected $183,000 of $183,000 of expenses, and the insurance company also collected $1.5 million of loan interest for loaning you that money that you never paid back until you died, and they only had to come up with $36,000. That's what you call a win-win. Okay? All right, now, let's go ahead. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at another scenario. In this scenario, we're going to look at, in this case, we're going to look at a 40-year-old that is putting in $24,000 a year, but their student is a little bit older. Their student is already in high school, so we don't have enough money to save up enough money. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out college loans that are going to cost an estimated $29,000 a year in college loan payments. Okay, so while the student is in school, we're going to use college loans. Okay, college loans while the student is in school. And then we're going to use the life insurance loans to pay back those college loans. Okay, so if we need to borrow, let me scroll up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so if we need to borrow a total of $319,000 for college loan payments, then we need to estimate a savings of $24,000 a year, which is $240,000. Once again, if you have a kid in high school and you don't have enough money saved for college, if you don't use this strategy, you're going to have to pay the $319,000 in college loan payments no matter what, right? Would you rather pay $319,000 in college loan payments and have nothing left? Or would you rather pay $240,000 into this life insurance plan, all right, and be able to potentially get your money back? So let's look at how that works. If we save $24,000 a year, we're going to be charged the expenses, which we know the expenses are going to start out high, and then they're going to drop down and go low over time, okay? So we take 24 minus the expenses plus the interest, which remember we're looking at 6% in this example, okay? Plus that 6% plus bonuses, right? That's the interest that we're earning, which gives us our account value, which is here, okay? Your account value is the asset that you're using as collateral to borrow against. So when we start borrowing all these loans, you'll see that when you borrow all these loans, your account value is still compounding, right? At an estimated 6% return, average return. We're being charged 5%, right? 5% on our loans, right? And then we have our loan balance that is also growing. So the money that we owe to the insurance company is also growing, right? So if we take our account value minus whatever we owe the insurance company, that is going to be our available cash value. Also remember, they don't give you access to all of the money up front. Okay, so you're going to get access to most of it over time, and then you'll get access to all of it in the 12th year. But anyway, that's just but we can still borrow against it early on. Like as you can see here, this is year, 7? That we're borrowing $29,000 a year. So we can still borrow money anytime. This is also an emergency fund. If you have an emergency while your kids are in school, you could tap into this money, borrow it. Imagine being able to take out a home equity loan without a credit check or application process and have the money wired to your account within 4 or 5 days and not have to have a payment, pay it back whenever you want, and be back on track. It's pretty cool. So this is like an emergency fund. And remember, we take our account value, all right, plus the life insurance equals our death benefit. But if we have a loan, we take the account value minus what we owe the insurance company plus the insurance. That equals our death benefit. Now this one's pretty cool. I'm going to see if I can do the eraser on this one. Okay. All right, this example is pretty cool because in this example, I'm going to show you what it would look like if we take out some retirement income. All right, so these loans down here starting at age 65, going all the way down, okay, these are not loans for college. These are loans to supplement retirement. This is like free money because we've already paid for college. This is extra. Now remember, we only came up with the $240,000 to pay for college or to pay back those college loans. And now we're still getting all this compounding interest. So we could still borrow even more money now for retirement. Now, of course, that means that your available cash value isn't growing as fast as it was in that last example that I showed you, but it's still growing because look at all this interest that we're earning. Okay, we're still earning all this interest. Here's another example with $1 million, paying $1,300 in expenses on $1 million. Pretty good deal, right? And so we're still getting this uninterrupted compounding interest, and the money that we're borrowing is being charged at 5%, right? We've got a 5% loan interest right here, 5% on the loan interest that we're being charged, and we're using it for retirement. Imagine borrowing money for retirement. Have you ever heard of borrowing money for retirement? It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Maybe like a reverse mortgage or something would be the closest thing to that. But you're literally borrowing money that you don't have to pay back until you die. So let's look at what happens. Let's look at what happens at death. Let's take a look at age 95. Oops. Age 95 on this example. Zoom in a little bit there. Okay. So age 95 on this example, you scroll up just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so we've still never contributed more than the $240,000. That's the most we contributed, right? Total expenses, $245,000. That's what the insurance company got for the life insurance, right? Interest of 6% is what we're quoting here. 6% interest grew to $5.8 million of interest that we earned. So that gives us a total of our $5 million account value, right? So then you look at your loans that you borrowed. In this example, we borrowed way more than just the cost of college, right? We borrowed the cost of college, then we kept borrowing all that money in retirement to supplement retirement income. We borrowed $1.3 million in retirement, or total, $1.3 million. Part of that was for college loans and part of that was for retirement. Our loan interest that we've racked up that we owe the insurance company is $3.5 million for a grand total that we owe them is $4.9 million, which is the loan interest plus the 1.3 that we borrowed, right? So we owe the insurance company $4.9 million. They're going to get the $4.9 million out of our account, okay? Which leaves us $938,000 left. If you're still alive at age 95, you could borrow $900,000, buy you a yacht, and go sell out into the ocean if you wanted to. Of course, that many years from now, maybe $900,000 would buy you a fishing boat. I don't know. All right, but we still have this life insurance, right? We have the life insurance that stayed relatively low. We kept that life insurance pretty low, which kept our fees pretty low, right? And then, of course, and that's all the insurance company has to come up with. The only thing the insurance company comes up with out of their pocket is $58,000. Not too bad for them. And of course, our family, we leave a legacy to our family of almost $1 million. Pretty powerful.